What's up, man? I am in the Philippines. Actually doing a little vacation and everything. So shout out to everybody who watched the channel, man. Before the stage, check this out, man. What happens when a record label reaches out to you? Oh, shucks. If a record label reaches out to you, that means you're doing some good stuff. Now, I'm going to say some things at the end of this video that you may disagree with, but you got to look at a strategic move. You know, all record labels have something, maybe a little bit, but they have something that you want or something that you need. So you might want to sign to them to get that something that you need. All depends on how the deal is set up. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out, man. Here we go.
All right, next topic, man. We got some sauce from the Brandman Network community. Just another great conversation. Again, for y'all who do not know, Brandman Network is a community that's free for the artists out there. Mm-hmm. We have these conversations here, but this is where we get into the details, not just through conversations through what I'm about to talk about right now, but also through legitimate classes, information that walks you step by step. So when you want to step by step, the exact strategies we use as an agency, all that stuff's free inside of here, but you got to join. And we're not letting everybody in, so it's better to try to get in sooner than later. Now, what is the question? I don't know how to say this name. I want to shout you out, but I'm going to just call you Jay Quito. You know what I mean? Now, the question is, what to do when labels reach out? And I want to get into this conversation. Let me pull up the right tab. There we go. Hi, guys. I have some labels reach out to me to have a meeting and possibly get signed to them. I'm pretty new to all of that. I was wondering if anybody else has advice on what to do when labels reach out. And are there any red flags I should be looking out for?
Of course.
All right. Todd Townsend said, hey, don't have advice, particularly on the above, but wanted to say I'm feeling what you did for what you mad for. That's one of his songs, I assume. Shout out to, dang, I wish I could say a name, but what you mad for. Shout out to you for having a dope track that people in the network mess with. Now, Albert Johnson Jr. says, I was approached by an indie label back in 2020, but it was such a wild situation. They ended up I think he meant to say breaching. They ended up breaching their own contract because they were harassing me about switching all of my previously released work under their publishing with BMI. Well, I would say, because I didn't know anything or had anyone to have anybody talk to at the time, make sure that they're not trying to get credit for everything you've already released. All right. So he's saying you've done things before you got in the agreement with them. Make sure that they're not trying to get ownership of all of that stuff as a part of your agreement, or at least if they are, y'all need to talk about that. Right. Next thing that Albert Johnson Jr. said, and if they're asking for your masters off rip, that's a red flag. Right?
Well, then again, it all depends, man. I mean, think about it, y'all. Uncle Mike is going to tell y'all, let's say you did a song. I did a song 10 years ago. I done got all the juice out of the song. I done played the song. It been played on the radio. I done did shows. If I re-put that song out, if I put it out, my same fans be like, man, you done already put that song out. Now I'm signed to a different record label. They may have a different idea on how to go about putting it out to a whole different genre of people. And call it a throwback, or we rewind in the tapes. And when Uncle Mike's career first started, this was a song he did. Oh, okay, now let's check it out. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on, you can spin it all kinds of different ways. So it all depends on how they spin it.
If they are, y'all need to talk about that, right? Next thing that Albert Johnson Jr. said, and if they're asking for your masters off rip, that's a red flag. All right. Might be obvious to some of y'all, but just wanted to say. Now, let's stop there because we know there's more dope conversation in this space. But with that alone, Jacory, what do you think about the advice that Albert gave? And then
see what they gonna say.
Thoughts and signs that you feel like people should take into account when labels reach out?
Yeah, I think Albert's, let me read it real quick. Yeah, Albert's comment was legit. So, I mean, I think it's about breaking it down into steps, right? And I think that if a label reaches out to you, one of the first things you should do is research. And one, just look into that label and make sure, hey, is this label legit?
Yep.
Is the person that's reaching out to me from the label legit? You can do this through a number of ways, right? Like LinkedIn, like look up people on LinkedIn, Google the person's name and the label name and see if any articles, any references come up that are around that person. But like just do research and make sure that this person, this entity is someone that's worth you talking to and they're offering you a serious situation. So with that being said, I'm assuming we're going to move through the rest of the conversation assuming this is a legit label that's reached out to you to talk to you. I think the very first thing you need to do is just take the call, like have a conversation with them, because every label person is different. The way they're going to kind of approach things is going to be different. But I personally believe that you don't start to see how seriously someone is thinking about you and their situation until you get a chance to actually have a conversation, right? Not saying you have to go into it with any expectation that there'll be something that happens at the end of it, but like just having it just to see how this other person talks to you or talks about you or just kind of where their head is at, right? Why did they even reach out to you? Oh, we saw XYZ and we thought you were cool.
That right there, bro. Like that's the biggest thing why I think everybody should have a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you talk to these people, you're going to learn what they look at.
Yep.
Right? What they find to be interesting about you and just hear other elements in the game that you might not be accustomed to or you might have heard on paper, but you don't see how it is executed in conversation, right? It's a completely different flow and part of the game to get used to. And then you talk to multiple people. If you are in a position where multiple people are calling you, then you can start looking at commonalities between conversations and piecing things together and involve your perspective on things from there.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's the biggest key. Like even if nothing comes out of the situation, you have a better understanding of how these people move for the next time you get into the situation or the next neighbor that reaches out. So it's like, every conversation you have strengthens your defense of getting finessed, you know what I'm saying, ideally, because either you're taking enough information to at least know like the right questions to ask the next person you talk to, right? At the very bare minimum, like you should learn enough from call A that by the time you get to call D, you already got a list of things you're going to ask to kind of like feel the situation out, right?
Right.
But then on top of that, I think also too, just like being normal in the situation is very underrated, right? Like I see artists get these label calls and they just throw every fucking thing out the window, bro. All the rhetoric they've been talking for the last couple of weeks goes out the window. They're talking about doing things they would never typically do.
Wait, hold on. I need you to be detailed because I don't want people to miss what you're saying. Like, what do you mean when you say, like, they're talking about things they never would talk about or do things they never would do? Are you talking the label side or the artist side?
Artist side.
Okay.
Like, so I remember we had a situation with a client where the label was telling them to like, they might have to take their music down or something, right? And like this person was seriously considering doing it because the label told them to do it. And we're like, well, bro, you ain't even signed nothing yet. One, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's crazy. And then two, like, no, they're wrong in the situation for how it benefits you. They're right for how it benefits them, but they're wrong in how it benefits you. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And so, but I think a lot of artists just are willing to be super compromising out the gate without even like, one, just saying if they're serious, and then two, like understanding like what could happen if they do follow the direction of this person who, to be fair, does not yet have your best interest at heart. They have no reason to have your best interest at heart. You ain't signed nothing yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can sell you the dream and it sounds good, but like, who knows if this is the dream I want to sell you once the ink drops, right? That dream I completely switch up. I got you. Now this the real shit is about to go down. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
So I think just like being normal in those situations, not switching up too much, but then just like talking to them like they're people, you know, because I do also think, as artists, you go into a lot of these conversations looking at the other person as almost like a savior, especially A&Rs, bro. A&Rs, managers, I argue to some degree as marketers, we get that, bro. We all get the starry eyes, bro. They're staring at you and you just see all their hopes and dreams being projected onto you. You know what I'm saying? That's a scary feeling to be on the other side of. You know what I'm saying? You know, superstar exec or not, bro. That's a scary feeling to have those eyes looking back at you. So I think even going to this situation like, hey, this is another human being. Like we mentioned on another call, bro, this is just a person doing a job, right? And understanding that and knowing that like, I'm not going to treat this person any differently because of their title necessarily. I think one is empowering in a sense because people can smell like desperation on you, bro. you've been too nice, you moving a certain way. Like I can smell desperation, or two, which I think is worse, smell that you have not been in this situation before, right? Like you been too friendly on the call, bro. You been too talking, oh, bro, I've been looking up you for XYZ amount of years, and I think, right, like you, like moving in ways that, like, if I'm an A&R that had 100 conversations with artists this week who are maybe a little bit higher than you, like they all go a certain way, very concise, you know what I'm saying, maybe to the point, you know what I'm saying, not too much sugarcoating maybe, versus, you know, newer artists, like it's gonna be a lot of sugarcoating because I can tell this is your first time being in a situation. I'm not trying to scare you away from what could be, you know, my career changing opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna string you along through the lines the way that I know people like you can be strong along. You know what I'm saying? Just to be real. You know what I'm saying? Like just be 100%. So I think, yeah, like one thing is just like not to get out of the habit of that, but yeah, the first step I said is like take the conversation, like talk to them, see what they want from you, ask them what made them reach out to you. You know, like you said, get an understanding of what breadcrumbs they follow to get to you. And because in that you'll learn like where your leverage points are at, right? Like somebody might say like, man, yeah, bro, I wanted to reach out to you because like, bro, I think your YouTube content strategy is like killer, bro. Like, shit, you doing better than all the new acts we've talked to this week. You didn't know that, you know what I'm saying? So they said that, bro. Now you know, like, okay, they really like my content infrastructure. That seems to be a selling point. And apparently I'm doing better than X amount of the new motherfuckers that's coming in, right? New information that you would not have had, new content you would not have had if you not taken the conversation. So I think that's the most important first step. Take the conversation, set that up as fast as you can. There doesn't have to be any stipulations. There doesn't need to be a specific outcome, but it's like just try to have the conversation as fast as you can have the conversation.
I'm with that 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And we can get into another comment in the space. Adrian Melanio says, I have had labels reach out at every stage of my career, 1,500 followers, 10K followers, 30K, etc. The types of deals and interest has varied for me. I've done a few deals where labels have provided advances, marketing support in exchange for royalties percentages. In my opinion, I think it's better to keep building until you don't need a label and can leverage better deals. Now, just with a little context, I'm not going to go too deep into Adrian's situations, but on one occasion, right, he had a singles deal. And I only mention a singles deal to help artists understand that, yo, man, like there's so many different variations of deals. So a lot of times we think signing to a record label means, I don't know, a 360 every single time, giving up the whole damn shit.
Yeah.
Right. Or give less of the shit because you really negotiated well. Right.
Yeah.
But there's so many variations of where income can come from, where income can't come from, what's owned. So you could just make up some shit like, hey, man, you get 50% of my masters and nothing else. I don't know. Or you could say you get 20% of my merch and 50% of my masters and I don't know, 0% of my touring or 5% of my touring. Like all of this stuff can vary and it's up to you to get creative. And it comes both ways from a standpoint of what's the value of these people in my eyes? And of course, what value do they see in you or can they bring to you as skill still from your perspective? That's what you care about the most. So a singles deal, I think, is a good way for many artists to
test the waters,
see how much labels don't do oftentimes, right? And it's lower commitment because you're not fully in that relationship. It's only one song locked up. You still have an entire catalog. If that song continues to move and takes off, then you now have new attention that's being brought to your other music, your brand, etc.
Yeah.
Right? And that's ideally though, right? The reality is they can get locked up they can lock you up for that one song and not do shit.
Yeah. 100%.
And that just suck.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. But the whole dream is, I'm only giving them ownership of one song or partial ownership of one song or sharing my royalties for this one song. And when it blows up, I'm going to have a big name and the rest of this goes into this catalog that I got so much attention for. That is the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
Right? But both sides is, hey, well, the song actually got zero gains. Only my work that I've continued to do has brought attention to it. But what they've done hasn't really done much for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's an ebb and flow to that and how you approach it. So I'm not saying, hey, just because someone's offering you a singles deal, it's a no brainer. You should do it. You still have to get into stipulations like my marketing budget. What is that if I do get a marketing budget? And what does that look like? Because a label will say, You have a marketing budget, but when you actually go to work with them, you don't get tapped into any of that budget.
Also, you got to realize, man, that the label or whatever deal, look at it like this. That deal is going to bring people that you wouldn't have normally brought in. Fans. This deal some kind of way needs to bring in some fans that once they see you, they don't care about who brought in the fan. You want these people to be introduced to you, and you sell them on you and what you're trying to do. Once you get the goal is to get as many eyes on you, many fans on you. It's up to you to turn them into fans and keep them as fans. You got to think of it and look at it that way. If you got a structure going on that once a person sees me and they become a fan, I got a structure in place to keep them happy as a fan, period.
Right? Oh yeah, we have a $50K marketing budget for you, but we have to approve every little thing and every little bit of spend for this marketing budget, right? So whatever your system was beforehand, I have to approve it. Or maybe you didn't have a system, but you want to do some stuff. I now have to approve every bit of that spend, and I'm going to be scrutinizing. Maybe I'm more flexible to the stuff that is actually paying me, because you can use my studio or use my content creator, or use my agency, whatever that looks like. And then I'll say, don't do any of this other stuff. Right. Or maybe I'm just super tight with the purse strings of how I spend the budget, and I don't have enough of a vision and understanding of current marketing to be able to say, yes, that's a good move, and no, that's a bad move.
Yeah.
So now I'm not approving things you should do. And I've seen many times where an artist will have a $50K marketing budget and they don't see 10K of it.
Yeah.
All right. A $200K marketing budget and they only see 100K of that 200K, and the agreement's over and they just never see it ever. Yeah. But they come in with this idea, this is my marketing budget, this is how much money. So there has to be additional stipulations. One of what actually getting that marketing budget looks like. All right. Not, oh, y'all just spend it, but hey, how much of that do I get to take and spend based on my own discernment? But then two, what are the specifics in general? Like, again, not just what I get, but how does getting it look?
Yeah.
Period. Right. Not what you're going to do or can do, but under what circumstances you're going to give it to. And then the last thing is that vision again. All right. How close can y'all get in terms of the vision that you want to achieve? All right. And how much are they not only align with that, but understand the type of marketing that makes sense for you as an artist? Because if y'all are on the same page there, it's still going to come back to the same thing. Y'all are butting heads, and look, both ways could actually be something that worked.
Yeah.
But they want to go about it in a different way. So I know it sounds like way more detailed and nuanced than you would think when it comes to what should I do when a label reaches out. But that's all the type of stuff that you're actually looking for. And the more detailed that you're asking some of these questions, the more people start to understand, it's like, oh, this person is somebody who's serious, and we can't just throw shit at them.
Can't just fuck them over, bro.
Just can't fuck them over.
So look at that, bro. It's like, have the conversation, ask some questions, have another conversation, get some terms, get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer, bro. Like, literally just, and that's what the 4 or 5 step process.
Right. Hey, well, look, get a lawyer is probably number one advice. However, make sure that lawyer is not the label's lawyer. Make sure that label's not one of that lawyer's not one of, a homie of somebody in some kind of way. All those things, we think it's obvious, but there's people who are at different parts of the ladder. Yeah. So make sure that lawyer is, fresh and fit for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say like later, because I don't think one is needed until like terms are presented. But the moment it's like if we just having the conversation, you don't need one, right? We just talking. But once like terms are presented, hey, I think you would look great in this deal. Lawyer up.
Yes.
Don't even know. I once had one of my manager homies. I remember they was doing negotiating with a label, and I always remember because I always thought it was so funny that he said this shit, but they sent him some contract and he couldn't understand it, and they was about to get a lawyer. They did end up getting a lawyer, so it worked out. But I remember he told the label, he was like, send me this contract like you're sending it to a third grader. And if my third grader cousin can't read this, I'm not signing nothing. Mm-hmm. And they did it, bro. They went back and took this like 30-page document and condensed it into like 4 or 5 pages, bro. It was this shit was crazy, bro. I didn't think they was gonna do it. They really wanted his artist, you know what I'm saying? So they was willing to make it work. And then he took that to the lawyer, and then the lawyer did his thing from there. But so it's like,
one thing about these contracts, man. First of all, you don't need no lawyer if you're making some money and you're trying to make more money. If you're making some money and you're trying to make more money by bringing another entity along, a record label, some type of production deal, distribution deal, that's when you need a lawyer. You have to be making some money first. If you're making zero and you got somebody want to sign you, don't get no lawyer. Don't even sign nothing. Don't even do it that way. You can get online and negotiate and do stuff yourself. And you can talk to the people. Look, man, I'm new at this. You got all these big words. I don't know what cross collateralization means in a contract. If a contract has cross collateralization, which means that if you leave this label and you sign with another label, this contract can cross over so they can collect the collateralization. I'm trying to remember what that collateralization means. But they can cross over and they can collect money that you may owe the record label. Get it? So a lot of people may not know what that word means in a record label, in a contract. So you get them to break it all the way down. Now the lawyers, if you take it to court, say, well, Your Honor, I asked them to break this word down and they told me this word means this. This is a breakdown. Yeah. You don't need a lawyer unless you're going to let the lawyer read stuff for you that you don't know what it means. Get it? You gotta let yourself understand. Look, get a dictionary. Get a dictionary, look some of these words up. And if that still ain't doing it, go back and tell the person who gave you the contract, yo, man, I'm new at this. I need something. I don't know what these, highlight a couple of words. I don't know what these words mean in this contract. You want me to sign it? If you really want to work with me, work with me. Help me to help you. Talk to the people. That's all you got to do is talk to the people. We all want to make money. The people that gave you that contract want to make money too. Or they want to slick. That's your first line of defense right there. Before you even pay for a lawyer. Don't be stupid. And then you got a lawyer, the lawyer tell you all this stuff. Yeah, this is a bad contract. Why you paying them? You paying a lawyer to tell you that this is a bad contract. You could have figured that out on your own without paying them. Don't buy a lawyer. Don't buy a lawyer right off the break. Don't do that.
Bro, you can ask for shit, bro. That's really it, bro. Ask questions, have the conversation, and then lawyer up.
And what I like about that last part that you just said, because that was always funny to me that happened, but it's real. You want to make it as simple for you to understand as possible.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think growing up, you tend to think when it comes to contracts, you almost expect it to be so complex and out of your league that when you encounter a complex contract, you think something's wrong with me because I don't understand this shit. Not something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
But you need to be thinking something's going on there. How can I simplify this as much as possible? Again, still want to get that lawyer at the end of the day. But how can I get this to a point where it makes as simple as sense to me as possible? So yeah, 100%. Anything like that. Hey, can you simplify this? Can you explain this? What's going on here? Your lawyer's going to help with that. But I love the just, hey, yo, take the whole contract and shorten this shit. Like I've heard simple. The other, like this shouldn't be longer than X number of pages. Right? When people do stuff like that, anything that helps you out. Because a lot of times there's a lot of superfluous information in these things.
It's not trip you over.
He is 100%, 200%, 1000% right. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, y'all. Hey, apologize. The power went out. The power went out throughout the whole house, man. So we back. We're going to finish this bad boy out. I'm in the Philippines, man. I'm sitting in the Philippines on vacation, checking out what this younger generation is they talking about. And they're doing a great job, man. And I just put my 2 cents in to keep y'all on track. So let's keep it going. Here we go.
This, can you explain this? What's going on here? Your lawyer's gonna help with that. But I love the just, hey, yo, take the whole contract and shorten this shit. Like I've heard simple. The other, like this shouldn't be longer than X number of pages. Right? When people do stuff like that, anything that helps you out, because a lot of times there's a lot of superfluous information in these things.
It's trying to trip you up with words, man. In perpetuity for continuity of the universe. You're like, what are you talking about?
The universe, bruh. And universe.
Beyond.
That's the universe shit is why I didn't sign that contract when who reached out to me? I don't know if it was NBC or Wall Street Journal. So they were doing a Dominic Fike series. New York Times was, right? And I don't know who the company, whether it was them specifically or the company doing the doc or whatever. Yeah. They hit me up. They wanted to use part of my Dominic Fike video in there. And, you know, I'm like, oh, that's dope. That's a good look. I ain't trying to make money out of it and none of that like that. But I just couldn't at the time with the perpetuity and the universe aspect of it. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know where my career is gonna be in 20 years. I might decide to become a politician or something. You know what I mean? Like a run for election, whatever. And then all of a sudden they got the ability to use this on all these different platforms and might flip it somehow. I told the lady, hey, I would just like it to say y'all can use it for this show, this series, and any formatting of this series. I understand that whenever you use it anywhere else in any other way, you still want to be able to use that because you don't know what you're going to do with the series. But nah, I can't just have it languished where you own this content or can use this content for anything beyond this series. And I don't know what that is. For me, that was just a weird thing. And, you know, she was like, oh man, you know, yeah, I'll send that back. So it was like, dope. She sent that back. But then of course the people end up going a different direction. You know, it was just a different creative direction. You know, people who were less resistant, possibly. You know what I mean? We don't need to have these problems or potential problems, which I get. I respect that at the end of the day. And I was like, dang, you know, that sucks. But I don't know. You know, you kind of just have to take that shit on the chin. And I actually say that same thing when it comes to labels. If you feel like you miss.
How we do that? How did that happen? Oh my goodness, how did that happen? Let's refresh. Wait a minute, let's see if we can refresh. The Wi-Fi come back on? Oh man, the Wi-Fi didn't come back on. Resume. All right, here we go. Now the Wi-Fi back. The Wi-Fi wasn't back. Here we go.
Content or can use this content for anything beyond this series. And I don't know what that is. For me, that was just a weird thing. And, you know, she was like, oh man, you know, yeah, I'll send that back. So it was like, dope. She sent that back. But then of course,
chocolate too.
The people end up going a different direction. You know, it was just a different creative direction. You know, people who were less resistant, possibly. You know what I mean? We don't need to have these problems or potential problems, which I get. I respect that at the end of the day. And I was like, dang, you know, that sucks. But I don't know. You know, you kind of just have to take that shit on the chin. And I actually say that same thing when it comes to labels. If you feel like you missed out on an opportunity, but it came from you trying to be diligent, you just got to take it on the chin and let that feeling ride. Cause it might feel weird for a second and you might feel like, oh, when's the next one coming? But you good. You'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
You'll be all right.
Be more opportunities.
They're coming. They're coming out. Let's see. Jermaine Gum said, depending on if you have any leverage, if you do, keep your masters and if possible, your publishing. If possible. Hey, big on that, if possible. And I understand why they like the comfort of publishing. We know that's where the money is. Ooh, there's a clip I want you to see. But if you don't have any leverage, you most likely won't even get a 50-50 deal. Most likely you'll only get around 15% for your music. For example, which most people don't know, Bruno Mars, when he had the hit out called That's What I Like, he was only getting around 15% off that song. I found that out when I was being taught in Berkeley College of Music in Music Business 101. So please be careful, man. I mean, that's a nice comment.
By the way, 15% is a pretty good deal. It's a damn good deal. It's a very good deal. 15% from a record label. that blew the song up, because he wouldn't have been able to blow the song up. This is what people don't understand. Without a record label, how do you blow a song up? Aha. So the record label is going to take a percentage of the music because they doing all the work, the hard work, the part you can't do, which is blow the song up. I'll call you back.
I know that about Bruno.
Yeah,
actually, just realized I corrected that because he wrote Burno. But let's read a couple other comments. Let me see. Nate James said, "Just be wary of label execs, bro. Any label that would throw $10K at an artist to see if they go anywhere." Oh, okay. He said any label will throw $10K at an artist just to see if they go anywhere, and if they don't, then they can just dump you and move on. Make sure you're ready, and then hire a good music lawyer to make sure you aren't getting taken advantage of. Now, yes, it is a part of many labels' business model, 100%, to put in a small investment.
Pump and dump.
Pump and dump, 100%. See that bad boy go. If it don't go, hey, we keep moving. And I think this is the catch-22 of these artist-friendly agreements that we see today, where it's like, oh yeah, 6-month licensing deal, 1-year licensing deal, or whatever, with an option. What we basically saying is, hey, I'm gonna give you 10K, 20K, whatever the number is, and that's the number I already worked out in my investment strategy.
Mm-hmm.
If it worked, cool. If it don't work, it's not great, but I'm good, right?
Yep.
So this is the money I'm gonna put in. There's an opportunity here. If things pop, I have the option. That's the biggest thing. Artists be saying, I got an option in my contract. No, this ain't sports, bro. Like, and even in some sports it's different, but you don't have an option. They got an option.
Yeah.
To say, do you stay? Do you go? All right. So they have that option. Oh, if this works, let's keep working.
Yeah.
All right. Or if I, for whatever reason, want to keep you locked down, even if it's to screw you over, let's keep working, quote unquote, keep you under contract. But other than that, you lose whatever period of time on your end. What else do you have to lose? I mean, the deal, if it really does work out, it's great, depending on what you have. But let's just assume it's only a royalty agreement. You don't have to give any up of your masters, anything like that. And you did let's say, what would be a number? Like maybe 50K for 20%. And that's very, please don't think that's a standard that y'all should need to sit by.
Making shit up.
I'm just making, I'm making shit up that I know someone who's done that or whatever. But here's the thing, being locked down really matters, right? And I know it doesn't seem like it because it is more friendly than what existed before. But like I know an artist that drops his song takes off, and they promise him so much money in marketing budget. Let me see. I think it was 30 or 40K, right? And then all this other money that would come after they drop the music video and things really get popping, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say song drops in January, and his manager got into a combative moment with basically the label. Manager was kind of like flying off the top, ends up having to break up with the manager, but then the manager says, I still own all this stuff, or like he was playing some weird game with them, and they end up being in court for 6 to 8 months.
Damn.
Yeah. And the label wouldn't do anything at all until they figured this whole situation out. So now he had a song that was popping, moving. This is like SoundCloud, but it's moving crazy, ridiculous numbers. But now he can't drop the music video until 12 months later. Basically, it drops in the middle of December. Like nobody's checking for it. You already know what December looks like as a month with zero marketing. And they made this entire, they had this entire argument that it should be dropped on the specific YouTube page. And I told him, I told him the whole way along that this shit didn't make sense. Like he dropped on a YouTube page that wasn't his, that wasn't popping itself. I'm sure that was probably like their homie or something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so the strategy's all bad. So you can get caught up in a situation with a label, even if it's a short-term agreement, where you end up following such bad advice, or they have such power over you that they manipulate your moves and they can suppress what you have going on. Maybe not intentionally. That's not what they're trying to do, but they're so worried about whatever their personal incentives are at the time. And for their strategy, you just get undercut as like a stray. You know, you catch a stray bullet and there goes a huge moment in time. It could be your career. So like, I've seen this happen multiple times, like to artists, especially even with these short-term like contracts, like, and they fuck an artist up. And it sounds like, oh yeah, short-term, that's a great thing. Yeah, 10 months is nice that it's a short-term agreement per se, but in music, 10 months can be long too.
Yeah, that's fact. That's fact.
Like, it's crazy. Let's see if there's one last comment that every label isn't bad, every label isn't good. Let's go with that. That one last statement. I'll say this. It's all people.
Always people.
It's all people.
Yeah.
That's all it is. All right. So you might have some good people. You might have some bad people. And here's another thing that happened in that time with that artist. The people he came in with, the entire organization got switched up. And
they'll do it.
That's a risk.
They'll do it.
It's a high risk. They wanted to change things up. There was a whole new guard. So now all these people who believed in you and saw you in the first place were no longer there. Those type of things happen, right? So at the end of the day, it's people. He went from a good situation to a bad situation, literally because of the people. And also the management situation and that legal people, right? So some people have a luck of the draw. Some people are good in discernment, but however you can, praying, rolling dice, blind luck, whatever it is, man, like try to find the right people you can in this industry.
Wow. Okay. Great advice, man. I think a lot of the advice that they giving is great advice. One of the things I would like to add, man, is you have to look at it like, number one, they try to make some money. A lot of people come to me with these record label contracts. People want to do a deal, but you as the artist, you want to make all the money. These people are in business to make money too. So if somebody's trying to market your music and they want a percentage of your music, don't go in there thinking that for every song that they sell, you're going to take the bigger percentage. It doesn't work like that. They doing all the work. You got your music, for example. There was a deal where the guy was like, we're gonna do these shows and we're gonna set up a table where they selling your songs. It was CDs back then, and we're gonna get all these t-shirts made and everything, and we're gonna give you like a 5% cut for all the t-shirts sold, 15% cut for all the CDs sold, but they gonna press up all the CDs and stuff. And this guy talking about something he want. No, they should take 10% of my music. They not gonna make no money. They had to pay for the t-shirts and everything. What are you talking about, man? It doesn't make sense. So any type of deal that these people are doing, you gotta make sure it's enough room for them to make money and you to make money. But the main value that you get out of it is you get more fans. You get more fans coming to you that can buy future stuff from you, future apparel, suit, future clothing, and other products and different things that you might be putting out, man, music and everything. Get them to go to your YouTube channel to see what you're doing behind the scenes. The more you get views and subscribers you get on any of these platforms, the more money you can make. So the more people, it's all about getting as many fans as you can to start following you. I mean, real followers. That's all it takes. So y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Check out beforethestage.com. Check out our website and everything. If you are interested in getting your music out there, Uncle Mike will show you how it's done. Apologize because the power went out and everything, but we got through this video. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.